Keele.
Thank you, Mary Agnes. Mr. Lamont,
Yep.
You say you will renegotiate the carbon tax with Ottawa and use the money for a green fund. So what would happen with the rebates Manitobans are currently getting, and how much would Manitobans pay under your plan for a carbon tax?
It would be, look, it would be exactly the same as it is, but we would actually, one of the things about taking back control of the carbon tax is that, or the carbon levy, is that we would actually be able to provide forgiveness for farmers, for grain drying. The other thing about it is that $300 million green fund that we're using would go to investing in permanent cost reductions. So it would help people pay for energy retrofits, for rewilding. This is, I mean, lots of the time people complain about the issue with the carbon tax is that it's just coming back. This is actually about using it as a green fund to permanently lower people's costs, because people would get grants for insulation, they would get grants to help green, and that would work as much for business, for First Nations, for municipalities, $300 million a year. There would still be some, but we're also offering a personal income tax cut for people who need it, which is very progressive and evidence-based. So we do have a very serious focus on affordability, and part of it is about making sure that we're bringing those costs down for good.
But I'd like a clarification on the rebate, though. It won't be the same because you're going to be using that money in your green fund. What will it look like?
No, look, the rebate would not be the same, but it's because people would also be able to, but instead of getting a rebate, people would be able to apply to a green program that would actually be able to fund something like geothermal. It'd actually be, you'd have the possibility of much more generous rebates and lowering, and like I say, lowering energy costs for the long run.
Heather Stephenson, my next question is for you. You're promising big tax cuts, including phasing out the payroll tax, taking PST off restaurant bills, and cutting income taxes, which, when fully implemented, will cost the government more than $600 million a year. And you say you'll balance the books by 2025. So how can you do all that and still pay for big ticket items like education, healthcare, and infrastructure?
Yeah. We're going to do it by growing the economy, and we're the only ones in this race that has a plan and a vision to grow our economy. Our Vision 2030 to make Manitoba a have province again and to see us grow to 2 million people strong. But what I will say on the topic of affordability is that we are the only ones that have already started to put more money back in the pockets of Manitobans through our last budget and previous budgets where we gave income tax and other relief to Manitobans. The Carbon Tax Relief Fund, $200 million that went back to Manitobans who were struggling at the time. And the leader and Mr. Canoe voted against that. We have been lowering taxes also in that budget, but also we recognize there's more work to be done. We recognize that Manitobans are having troubles making ends meet. Now, Mr. Canoe has a plan, a short-term 6-month plan for a 4-year term. That is not long-term tax relief for Manitobans. That's what we're offering.
What happens, though, if the economy doesn't grow at the same pace as these tax cuts? Will you have to make cuts in order to fund the tax cuts?
No, we're going to grow our economy. Right now, there are so many exciting things happening right now on our economic development front. 64 different projects, companies interested in coming to Manitoba. 13 of those are ready to go. $26 billion investment in Manitoba that will add to our GDP, an increase of 11% or $8.5 billion. What that means to Manitobans, that means that life will be more affordable. That means that we'll have more money for healthcare, for education, and for social services.
Mr. Canoe, I would like to touch on something that Ms. Stephenson touched on. You've committed to a temporary gas tax cut and a temporary freeze of hydro rates, but what is your long-term permanent plan to help people with grocery bills, the price at the pumps, and their mortgages, because we know interest rates are going up and we know inflation is still very stubborn?
Well, our plan is simple. No games, no finger pointing. We're just going to help you. We're going to help you and your family right now during your time of need. So when it comes to freezing hydroelectric rates, that permanently reduces hydro rates going forward into the future. So it's a permanent measure. When we're talking about the cut to the gas tax, it's a simple reality. The government can't do everything, but we can do something, which should be to help you at one of the greatest pain points in our economy right now, which is when you go to the gas station. And so while some others have been pointing the finger at other levels of government for the carbon tax, they've been charging you 14 cents a liter the whole time. That's what I mean, no more games.
So then why not cut the gas tax permanently then?
Because we have to also balance our responsibility to the environment. If you cut the gas tax for 1 year, emissions will not rise. Emissions will not rise over 1 year because over 1 year time, people have already made their decision of what kind of car they're going to drive, how far they're going to live from work. So part of why this is a temporary measure is so that we can balance the need to help you right now while also preparing the next generation to have a safe, clean, and healthy environment. But at the end of the day, we know that people need help right now in this moment. And that's why we've prioritized cutting the gas tax, because it will help you directly when you go to the pump. But the big grocery chains have said transportation costs are one of their big reasons for passing on costs to you. So we're going to take that out of the window.
Jeff Keele,
very quickly,
a quick question. Keele.
Very quickly, I have a quick question for all three of you. We've got less than 30 seconds, starting in the same order. Mr. Lamont, the PST, leave it, raise it, or lower it?
Oh, leave it. Look, but I just want...
Heather Stephenson.
We got to leave it for now. We'd love to lower it, but stay tuned for later on, sometime down the road when we're back in government.
Bob Canoe.
Leave it, raise it, or lower it?
I will never raise the PST.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the CBC Manitoba YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. For the latest breaking news and top stories, download the CBC News app.